Okay, so I'm here today to present you the why and how we implemented a big data analytics team in Euroclear. I'm going to try to focus on lessons learned so that it's very practical for you. Now, before I do so, I'm going to give you some few words on Euroclear. Well, we are a company active in the financial sector, and we are one of the key players of the post-trade industry. Now, I'm not going to explain everything that we do, but basically one thing that I want to focus on is the fact that we settle every 6 days transactions for the equivalent of the GDP of the EU. So I don't know if you know what is the GDP of the EU, but it is around 14 trillion euros. So it gives you a sense of the transactions that we handle on a daily basis. Now, it doesn't mean that we have petabytes of data. We do have a lot of data, but we don't have petabytes of data. So the big data stuff, the volume part, we're not impacted by that. Now, we know that data is an asset. We've heard that today several times. And our starting point is for us to understand how we can derive value from this asset. And because we think that big data analytics is the key to derive value from data, well, we started our journey 2 years ago, and we focus on 4 different fields. The first one, it's an obvious one, it's enhancing customer experience. Why? Because if we analyze our customer data, we can have a better understanding on their behavior, their preferences, and if we know that, then we can obviously provide them better services. The second point is developing new products and services based on data. Some people talk about data monetization. What I say is that it's a better use of the data that we have for the benefits of our clients. The third point is increasing operational efficiency. By analyzing our transactional data, our operational data, we can improve the way we work and we can be more efficient. And the fourth one is improving risk management. We are known as being a very risk-averse company. We are known as being a risk-conscious company. We are known as a company that provides a safe haven to our clients. So if we can improve our risk management framework, all the best. Now, for the last 2 points that I just mentioned here, you will have presentation later in the day by 2 of our data scientists making a very concrete presentation of the cases on which we have worked. So what is our journey? So, well, basically, we started 2 years ago with a pilot. Now, to be very honest with you, the pilot didn't go well. We started with the wrong use case. We started with the wrong mix of skills. And we started with people in the business side that were not available actually to work with us. So all in all, we failed. But we have a very good view of all the things that we shouldn't have done. So with that in mind, we went back to management and we explained them that, well, we didn't succeed, but we know the things that we shouldn't do. And that's how we started our journey with a team called the Data Analytics Lab, in which now we have proven that we can bring value through data thanks to big data analytics. So we are now considered as a key differentiator in the company. We have allowed to bring maturity in terms of analytics in the company at a higher level. And people have now a very good understanding of what data is used for. Now, what are our key learnings in that journey? Well, the first one is that we have used a gradual approach. So a gradual approach means you start small and you think big. We haven't implemented a massive analytics data warehouse. We haven't hired an army of contractors. What we've done is that we have used the data that is inside. We have used some few servers that were available, and we have used people that were already in the BI team and complemented that by external data scientists. Now, by doing so, we have allowed to focus on very concrete use cases. And because we have focused on very concrete use cases, not thinking about changing the company, overall, we have been able to prove that there is value to data, and we have been able to prove that we can do more with it. And this, in turn, has allowed to increase the maturity of analytics of the company. Because one thing that you need to understand is that in a company, not everybody knows what is big data analytics, not everybody knows what is advanced analytics. You need to help them. You need to guide them in understanding that. Big data, it's a hype, that's fine, but you need to make it concrete for your company. And that's what we did by a lot of communication with our senior management, with our stakeholders, with IT, with everybody. What we did is to explain what is big data and what is it that we can do with it. And because we did that, and because we had successes with our use cases, then users started to come to us saying, yeah, we have other ideas and we want to work with you. And this is the key to your success. Now, another thing that is important is that if you create a team called a data analytics lab, well, you need to experiment. You need to innovate. If you look at the big data world, people have already said that today, there are open source solutions that are developed on a weekly, monthly basis. So you need to give the opportunity to your staff to experiment those things. You need to work on different use cases by looking at the solution that exists on the market. And why you need to do that? Well, because when you have a use cases coming in, maybe you can already use an algorithm that has been developed by this university, and you gain time. You gain time, you're more efficient, you deliver more. Now, the last point that is very important is agile analytics. What do I mean by agile analytics? Is the fact that you need to engage your users. If you start on a use case and you use a traditional project management approach like a waterfall approach, you define a scope, a requirement, and then you see your users at the end with some product that maybe they will like. Then it doesn't work. What you need to do is to be agile. So it means that you need to work in a series of iterations, starting from the workshop where you define the scope, and then working out the requirements, the data exploration, the data extraction, data exploration, and then the analytics part. And for all those activities, you need to do that in a series of iterations with your business. And if you do that, then at the end, they will recognize the product. And this is very important. They will be engaged with your analytics. Because one thing that you need to keep in mind is that you are going to work on data that people have been using for years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever. And then you're going to transform this data through your analytics into insight. And so this insight, it can be something that can be quite challenging for them to understand. So if you have managed to engage them along the whole process, the ones that have been working with you will have no problem actually engaging with it. And then their colleagues that will use also the product that you will have developed will have no problem using it. So you need to keep calm on that and trust your analytics, because then they will. Now, who is doing that? Well, we have a team of people made by an engagement manager. That's a person that is doing project management, team leads, strategy, marketing, those kinds of things, looking at the long-term vision. We have a data engineer. That's the guy that knows where the data sits and how to extract it, how to put it into our Hadoop platform so that our data scientists use it. And then obviously we have data scientists, so you've heard the word already today. You are, some of you, data scientists. Well, it's not because you have a PhD in statistics that you're a data scientist, I'm sorry to say. There are more skills that are required for that, and basically some of them are listed here. So it is a specific profile, but that's a very interesting profile. Now we also have what we call an analytics architect, so that's a mix of business analyst and project management, and also ensuring the coherence between the different use cases on which we're working. And then by 2016, I hope to bring a new addition to the team, actually a graphic designer. Why? Because when you work in the big data analytics field, one thing that is very key to the success of your initiative is your ability to present the figures properly. So you need to propose visualization in which your users are going to recognize themselves. You need to present visualization with some kind of wow factor, because then it will push them into using the figures further. And I think that if we had a graphic designer, that we can go further. Already today we do great things. You have a lot of stuff that you can use with Shiny and D3 and stuff like that, so that's perfect. But we can do more than that. So for me, next stage is about that. Now to leave you, because I'm conscious of time, big data analytics maturity. Not all companies are at the same level, and you need to be conscious about that. When you start, not many people know about it. And because they don't know about it, you have to help them and to support them. In Euroclear, we have moved out of the experimental and the beneficial phase. We have proven that we can do stuff. We have proven that we can extract value from data and that it is beneficial for the company. Now what we do is that we are entering into the industrialization phase, which means that we want to industrialize our processes, we want to industrialize our procedures, we are setting up an IT infrastructure into production mode, and this is how we will move to the next step, to put us into the long run. And maybe one day we will move to the last stage where analytics is part of the DNA of the company. Now I must admit this is kind of the holy grail of analytics, and then you won't call big data analytics anymore, you will call it analytics and everybody will be happy. But basically that's quite complex. So if you can already position yourself on this scale, and if some of the advice I gave you today are useful for you, I think I will have done my job. Thank you very much.
J'adore ta présentation.